Artificial intelligence has crossed a threshold. It is no longer a frontier technology question. It is now a central axis of geopolitical competition, national security planning, and state sovereignty. UNIDIR, the United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research, is convening a global conference on AI security and ethics in 2026, confirming that AI governance has reached the top tier of global policy agendas. The framing is explicit. AI development, deployment, and use now actively shape national, regional, and global security environments. Welcome to the strategic frontier. This shift means that AI is being evaluated less as an economic accelerator and more as a strategic asset, something to be controlled, protected, and weaponized. The implications cascade across defense doctrine, trade policy, supply chain architecture, and the fundamental relationship between states and the corporations that build these systems. In September 2023, Ian Bremmer and Mustafa Suleyman published The AI Power Paradox in Foreign Affairs. Their argument was straightforward and remains prescient. AI will transform power, not only the power balance between states, but the balance between states and the technology companies driving the frontier. The paradox is structural. The same capabilities that deliver productivity gains and economic growth also democratize serious harm. Disinformation, proliferation of dangerous knowledge, cyber risk, and economic displacement all scale with the same models that generate commercial value. And Bremmer and Suleyman warned that policymakers were already behind the curve. If they failed to catch up, they might never catch up at all. That warning, issued in 2023, has aged into a governing reality. States are now racing to control inputs. Compute infrastructure, talent pipelines, training data, and access to frontier models, while governance of outputs remains fragmented, reactive, and chronically lagging. A commentary published in Nature made the case that Silicon Valley's single blueprint vision for global AI is fundamentally flawed. Nations are increasingly placing AI sovereignty control over crucial AI infrastructure and systems at the core of their security and growth agendas. The logic is straightforward. Dependence on foreign-built AI models creates strategic vulnerability. Any state relying on external providers for foundational intelligence capabilities cedes a measure of autonomy over information processing, decision support, and eventually economic competitiveness. The result is a fragmenting landscape. Nations are pursuing independent AI strategies, building domestic compute capacity, restricting cross-border data flows, and treating AI infrastructure the way previous generations treated energy pipelines and semiconductor foundries. The world economy may become more stable in some respects as nations build redundant domestic capacity, but less efficient in others as fragmentation raises costs and limits collaboration. In June 2026, the White House issued a presidential action titled Promoting Advanced Artificial Intelligence Innovation and Security. The document's language was direct. Advanced AI capabilities make the nation stronger, but also introduce new national security considerations requiring coordinated action across executive departments and agencies. This confirmed what had been apparent for months. The United States government had formally linked frontier AI to national security at the highest executive level. The action signaled that AI policy would no longer be treated primarily as a commercial or scientific matter. It would be managed through a national security framework, with all the classification, restriction, and coordination that implies. The full text of the presidential action may contain additional directives not fully visible from public summaries, but the strategic direction is clear. Innovation and security are now paired mandates, and where they conflict, security retains veto power. The most concrete illustration of this security-first posture came through an episode involving Anthropic. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trump administration barred foreign nationals from accessing Anthropic's two newest frontier models, designated Fable 5 and Mythos 5, citing national security concerns. Anthropic, unable to screen users by nationality, announced it had disabled both models worldwide. The episode underscored a critical tension. When national security restrictions collide with the global distribution model that frontier AI companies depend on, the result is blunt, disruptive, and globally consequential. A single national directive effectively removed advanced capabilities from every user on the planet. The precise chronology and whether the models were fully disabled or partially restored is not fully confirmed from available summaries, but the strategic signal is unambiguous. Governments now treat frontier models as instruments of national power, subject to sovereign control, and companies building those models operate under an implicit license that can be revoked. The National Academies issued findings that AI will elevate near-term cybersecurity risks, but can strengthen cybersecurity in the long run with sufficient investment and coordination. The near-term danger is asymmetric. AI-enabled attacks lower the cost and raise the sophistication of offensive operations, giving adversaries tools that previously required nation-state resources. Lockton's 2026 Cyber Threat Report identifies AI-enabled attacks and geopolitically motivated intrusions as growing drivers of cyber risk, with an increasing share of losses stemming from companies' own decisions rather than external attackers alone. The National Academy's deeper finding is structural. Long-term security will depend less on restricting access to AI capabilities and more on building resilient systems as those capabilities spread globally. AI-driven cyber capabilities are difficult to measure, making risk harder to manage. The defensive challenge is not preventing adversaries from obtaining AI tools; that is already impractical, but ensuring that defensive capabilities scale alongside the threats they are meant to counter. The structural pattern across all available evidence is consistent. States are over-securitizing inputs, compute, talent, model access, while under-governing outputs, disinformation, proliferation, cyber risk, economic displacement. The most consequential domains of AI power remain largely unregulated and open to capture. This creates a paradox that defines the current era. The capabilities that drive productivity and growth also democratize serious harm, forcing governments into reactive, fragmented policy responses that arrive after the damage is visible. What comes next is a period of accelerating friction. Nations will tighten controls on AI inputs while struggling to govern outputs. Companies building frontier models will face increasing pressure from sovereign governments seeking to assert jurisdiction. And the power balance between states and technology corporations, identified by Bremer and Suleiman as the defining tension, will intensify. States that build effective governance frameworks for AI outputs, not merely input controls, will gain durable strategic advantage. States that rely solely on restriction will find themselves less competitive and no more secure. Welcome to the strategic frontier. Stay vigilant.